You're right, YouTubers, it's Bruce Lee John Fan 13, back with another video. And today I just thought I'd, well, because I haven't got much to update, I just thought that I'd do a video of movies that I've grown up with till present day that I have watched more times than any other. And not only my collection, but, you know, sort of like ever. So maybe I've seen them on TV, mostly like on VHS, like DVD, and up to like Blu-ray. So it's just basically movies that have just been in my life since a very early age, and I've watched more times than any other, basically. So I've got like a few, because obviously I've seen a fair few movies, but these are the ones that really stick out for me. I've put them on numerous times, you know, and not in any particular sort of order, but maybe back down to like the last 10, probably into like, you know, good double figures, and maybe like the last few, maybe into over 100 times watched. So, first one is Castaway. Good Tom Hanks one, really enjoyed this one, you know, so it's, when did it come out? Like 2001, bloody hell, didn't know it was that old. Yeah, and since I've seen it, you know, watched it on TV. This is the double disc with bonus features on it. I love the visuals on this, you know. Tom Hanks has done a fair few good movies. You know, I love The Burbs, Green Mile, you know, amongst many others, Big and stuff like that, which I love, but I'd probably say I've watched this one a lot of times, you know, a fair few. It always sticks out for me. I love the fight for survival, you know, the lack of script or whatever, you know, like the last sort of like half, and it's just sort of like all visual and stuff, and I love that. So I think there's like 30. And next one up is Scum, British made juvenile institute thing. I think it was Ray Winstone's first film. You know, I love this kind of stuff. And it's just basically Young Offenders Institute, where Ray Winstone comes and he takes over as like the daddy, that they call him, who sort of like can give the orders to the rest of the wings and just keep order in the ranks and stuff. But really good if you haven't seen it. Next, Platoon. And this is a really good one, you know, probably my favourite, well, it is my favourite Vietnam type one. I know it's like Full Metal Jacket, Hamburger Hill and stuff like that, but Platoon, you know, keeps a good tempo all the way through, good characters, Johnny Depp, Tom Berenger, Willem Dafoe, Charlie Sheen, you know, all make good performances. And I mean, most of these are, like I say, you know, were what I had on VHS that, you know, me and the lads and a few others, you know, we used to just put on all the time. Next one, Claire, one of the best Nicolas Cage ones in my opinion. You know, I love the story to it, great characters, you know, you've got a lot of good ones, you know, John Malkovich, Ving Rhames, or whatever you say, Rhames, whatever, you know, but I always enjoy this one, seen it numerous occasions, you know, even when it's on TV and stuff. And Flight of the Navigator, always been one that I've loved since childhood, you know, along with obviously like Gremlins, Short Circuit, you know, all the other ones of kiddies, 80s, you know, but I still put this on today, and I think, you know, for 1985, I think the effects were bang on, you know, and I still like watching it now, you know, even do stick it on now and again, but it was overwatched, you know, at the time, so, you know, it does come out now and again. Next one, Blade, one of my favourite Wesley Snipes films, you know, the Blade trilogy, but my friend introduced me to this one, and it's been my favourite Wesley Snipes one, and I think one of the best that he's been in. I know he's done a fair few good films over the years, but this one is a repeated watcher for me. I just love it. Next is Fortress, one of Christopher Lambert, after like Highlander. I do like the Highlander ones, but I mean, just for me, this is something different. You know, everyone sort of stereotypes him as, you know, the Highlander, the one. But, you know, this one in a futuristic prison, you know, you're only allowed to have you know, wipe one kid in the future, and if you step over the mark, you get chucked in a maximum security prison. So basically, he's got to bust himself out and his missus and a few of the inmates in there that he's like made friends with. Goes through a lot of shit, you know, but really good. Next up, Wishmaster. You know, I think I've talked about this in one or two other videos. So, you know, I won't say too much about that one. Everyone knows it, you know, it's a good flick and I've watched it many times. Next one is The Warriors. You know, when I think this was like 1979, something like that. You know, it's gang. They go for a meeting in the Bronx, you know, they get blamed by a rival gang for killing the head honcho. And they've got to make it back to Coney, meeting every other gang on the way who wants to kill them, basically. So, I mean, I've watched this a lot of times. Next up, Hellraiser. Obviously, everyone knows about Hellraiser. You know, I love the first three. I've seen one or two of the other ones. And, you know, Pinhead is a great horror icon, you know, and it's... like I said, you know, I was born in 1978, so I grew up with all the 80s horror films, and used to, me and my friend had a few on VHS long play tape, you know what I mean. We used to like watch it until the lines were going up the screen, and this was one of them on that tape. And Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and 3, you know, I know people give a lot of shit to the second one, but I think it's pretty good, you know. I've watched it probably more times than number 3. I can't be quite sure, but you know, I know I've watched it a fair few times, and I thought it was pretty good. Next up, you can't go wrong with a bit of Van Damme now and again, you know. Kickboxer, it's like the first Van Damme one that I saw, you know, and you know, I would put maybe Bloodsport on par with this. I do sometimes prefer Bloodsport, sometimes Kickboxer, but like I say, I've overwatched this one. But I still watch it occasionally, and it's been on, you know, when I have my VHS player, it was in there a lot of times, you know, and you know, some of his early films were really good, you know, showing off his martial arts and stuff. And I think the best one he's been in lately is like Expendables 2. He's, you know, a pretty good bad guy in that. So next up is Bride of Chucky. You know, same again. I love all the Chucky movies. Even Seed of Chucky, I don't think it was too bad. I think it got a bit of too much stick, you know what I mean. I did think it was maybe running out of a couple of ideas, but this one, I think I've seen it more times than Child's Play 1. So, I mean, I had this on video as well. But I just love this one. You know, it's got Tiffany and Chucky. It's funny, gory, you know, good kills, good story, you know. Even though I do love the other ones, this is a video about ones that I've seen more times. So, and I've definitely seen that more times than the first one. Okay, so I'll just put this in as 1, but I'd say, in my opinion, I've seen Rocky 3 more times than any other. Basically because, you know, fan of like Hulk Hogan when he did the wrestling in the 80s. Well, you know, I know he still does it today, but you know, he started in the 80s, had a good run in the 90s, you know, and it's got Mr. T in there, who I love. So, and I mean, I used to stick that on like quite a lot of times, even if it was just to fast forward to the boxing parts or the training montages. You know how it goes. So I'll just count this as 1 as well. It's in the Aliens Blu-ray pack, but you might be surprised at that. But Alien 3, and you know, I'd seen the other ones, and Alien 3 was like the last one that I actually came across. It was like an ex-girlfriend that put it on one time, and I actually really loved it. And I've seen this more times than any of the other Alien editions. And I just like how it's mostly like English actors, you know, set in the prison. It's out of the way, something a bit different. You know, I like the acting and how the story goes, you know, and I've seen that one, like I say, more times than I don't know, I can't remember. Okay, Evil Dead. So, like I say, grew up in the 80s. My mum was into horror, so I mean, I remember actually seeing this on Betamax video back in the day, and you know, I still watch it occasionally now. I'm actually going to watch the new Evil Dead tomorrow night, so I'm going to really enjoy that. I might actually watch this tonight just to get myself in the mood, even though I don't really need to. I've been you know, anticipating, it's like waiting for bloody Christmas for this Evil Dead to come out. You know, I've been looking at the reviews on some of the American friends on here about, you know, a lot of them have only the good things, but you know, I've watched this a fair few times. Shaun of the Dead, you know, one of my favourite, as you know, favourite Zomcom horrors, you know. Absolutely brilliant, you know. When I had my own place, it was in on my old DVD player. It was in more often than not. Same again, you know. Shining, watched it God knows how many times. You know, never gets stale. And I went through a big phase of this film, Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny. I just loved the music to it. I loved the characters. I think Jack Black's brilliant. You know, it's the best film, in my opinion, that him and Carl Gass have been in. It's got Meatloaf in there, a few others, you know, brilliant, Tim Robbins. And I watched it more times than I can think of. Poltergeist, same again, you know, I think I mentioned it before in another video. All-time classic, you know, and I think it still holds up today, and with it being on Blu-ray as well, they clean it up really well, you know, but in my opinion, I still do like watching it on VHS if I ever do come across it again. Terminator 2, coming down to the last few now, so yeah, I've watched this a shitload of times, you know. I think it's one of the best sequels for any franchise, really. You know, I've only ever watched half of Salvation. I don't know why. Every time I watch it, I lose interest. You know, it's got to be Arnie for me. He is the Terminator. Okay, The Things. Watched this on TV the other night, you know. But I do love The Thing. I've watched it loads of times, you know, more times than I can think of. And you know, I love the characters, the effects. It's just nostalgia for me, and when I had it on VHS, it was one of them that I'd always just sort of like put on. People come round, a couple of beers, you can't go wrong. Okay, another one, it's like me, one of my latest pickups. I know I've got it on DVD as well, for First Blood, you know, same as maybe like Castaway, Fight for Survival. I love all that, you know, special training stuff in this, you know, where he's using all his training and his will to survive and get back at the sheriff, and revenge. He's haunted by Vietnam and all the rest of it, you know. And I never get bored of that one. I can watch that any time. And a lot of these are like what you can sort of put on any scene, any time. You know the words. You can spout it off. You know, they're just there at the front of your mind. You can do your boyfriend or girlfriend's heads in. You know, you know how it goes. House for the next one. You know, one of my favourite horror films of all time. And I think this was what I spoke of earlier. It was on one of those long play tapes that my friend had with Troll 2, and I can't remember the other ones offhand, but we used to love this one, and I still love it today. And I've you know, seen it, and I've made a lot of my friends to watch it as well. Coming to the last, this is number 5 now, and Predator. Obviously, you can't beat Arnie and Predator. In my opinion, his best film. I know, I'm a big Arnie fan, but I've watched this one, out of all the Arnie catalogue, I've watched this one the most, and on more regular sort of occasions. And I watched it quite recently because, like I just said, I know all the words, I know what happens, you know, I can recite it off heart. Another one, Nightmare on Elm Street. I was going to put this at number 2, but I think there's one, it might have just squeezed in there, because I've got into a lot of films about the same time. But you know, Nightmare on Elm Street, the all-time classic, you know, the best in the franchise for me, even though I do like the other ones. Original, scary, you know, Freddy Krueger. I do like the other franchises, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Saw, the rest of them, but Freddy is the one that I love the most out of all those, and definitely one of the most watched horror films that I've ever seen. Next, Arnie again, Commando. It was a bit of a competition between Commando and Predator, you know, but I think I've seen this one maybe, if it comes down to maybe a couple of times more, something like that, you know, but I just love this for a good 80s flick, you know. I mean, a lot of these are just nostalgia for me, but I still watch them today, and still prefer them to a lot of films of today, you know. Not a lot of them stick in my mind, you know, that I could say, that was a brilliant movie, and I'll still remember it in 2 weeks' time, and still go back to it. But this is definitely one of them that I can always go back to and remember that action used to be brilliant. Okay, this is my most watched horror film of all time since I was a kid. Even now, you know, if people come to the house and they're still a little bit, you know, we're on about horror films and stuff, and they're a little bit hazy about American Werewolf in London, they'll say, yeah, I remember it. I'll just stick it straight on, you know, and just give the memories a good jog about it, you know. It is an absolutely wonderful, brilliant, epic werewolf film, you know, the best of all time. And I've got to say, you know, sometimes I'd maybe fast forward to the transformation part, and I've probably seen that bit into the hundreds. I used to like study it, almost in a geek-worthy way. But there's that. That's number 2. Number 1 for me, if you haven't guessed, would be Enter the Dragon. This has got to be into the hundreds. You know, I've been a Bruce fan since I was very young. So, I mean, I love the story. It's a perfect martial arts film for me. And I remember a couple of weeks ago, Andrew Bellina, I don't think he'd ever seen it, thought it was going to be cheesy 70s kung fu flick, which it isn't. You know, it's Warner Brothers, so it's got all the trimmings, great acting, you know, all the choreographies by Bruce Lee, you know. It's just a wonderful film. You know, you've got John Saxon in there, plays a good part, Jim Kelly, who's been in bugger all ever since really if it was any good, but he is really good in this, you know, great characters. And I'd say the best, just in my opinion, obviously I'm going to say that because I'm a Bruce Lee fan, but the best martial arts film of all time. And I probably watched it, I don't know, it's into over 100 odd times, and I never get bored of it. So, I mean, that was my countdown anyway, in my top 30 ones I've watched more times than any other film on earth. So, I mean, if you like that, comment below, but, you know, it gave me the idea from watching 1 or 2 other people's as well, and I like to see like variety, even though, you know, a lot of those are like what everybody's seen and whatever, but I mean, that was just my personal like choice. So, I mean, I'll probably be back with another update of more stuff when I actually get myself out of the house. So, I mean, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed that, and catch you later.